Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Creative Tech Talks. Today's session will be presented by Duminda. Duminda, as you all know, is an IT consultant. He's very passionate about IT-enabled digital transformation. And Duminda started his career as a development engineer, and he continued as a senior consultant for Microsoft APS and Azure data platforms. He's been a Microsoft Data Platform consultant since 2016, so he's very knowledgeable about all this. Duminda is a past pupil of University of California, and he's also been a Microsoft internal CSS member from 2009 to date. So I now invite Duminda to take over the session.
Thanks, Kanchana. So good evening, all. So I thought of before coming to the career path with Azure, we have to have a better understanding about this transformation. So when it comes to transformation, there are few things. So first thing, you have to understand how the careers are transformed and have been transforming. And in order to understand that better, you should have a better understanding about how things are going to cloud and how the cloud transformation works. So in the big picture, you have to understand how the digital transformation is happening, how the businesses are transforming, right? There are many jargons, but don't worry, we are going to those in detail. Okay, first thing, so digital transformation. Let's try to understand what this is. Yeah, it's a buzzword, but when it comes to digital transformation, you can simply understand it by looking at how the businesses were those days and how they are today, how business caters the market. That is one side of it. And other thing is how you are looking for products and services today, how they were those days. So these are few examples. So anyone of you have seen recently a payphone post? Oh, those days we had like phones, we used coins for calling. I'm not sure those who are just joined the company, but the people, very aged people like me, have those experience. So we had those, but now we can't even find. Maybe sometimes we find them in the museum. So same with the taxi services. You may have seen those in old films, but now everything has replaced. Right, the same with the accommodations. The Airbnb has dominating that space, and movies. Right, but one common thing. Did you notice the every new these businesses? There's one thing common behind. That is IT. Right, everything has transformed, and now everything has become IT-enabled business. So it's a good thing for us, right? So anyway, they are the IT professionals. Few more things. Bookstores, ads, musics, telecom, recruiting, financial. So everything, these are the known names. So everything has transformed. It's not just the business has transformed. So the consumers, we have been transformed, and we seeking for the solution services which can serve us better. So we are forcing the business to be transformed. The businesses that have not transformed, they are dying. They cannot survive anymore. So this is the, this is what we called as transformation, business transformation, and this is what drives the digital transformation. So if we are talking a bit more about digital transformation, there are a few things. One thing is how the business are engaging the customers. So now most of the things are through social media and digital platforms. As an example, let's see how we did bank in those days and now how we are doing it. So the banks, those who are not with internet banking, mobile banking, so now they are in trouble. They have to go to that, right? The products, how they present them, how they brand them, how they position them, everything. Uh, the operational optimization, obviously. So IT is a key, plays a key role there, and enable the employees. So they also should be capable of not just the business operation, but they have to have the good knowledge in IT and software tools they are using. So what are the tech stacks mainly behind these? So what are the things we hear? The one most common thing is cloud. Everything is migrating cloud. Not only that, like AI, data science, blockchain, IoT, RPA. There are many technical words, and there's a huge mean behind those. So let's focus on the cloud transformation. Yeah, this is what the VMware CEO says. So to understand this in bit more, let's look at as a developers, IT professionals, how we worked those days and what we are doing today and what will be the future. So those days, what was the focus? What was the goal? Right? We developed, we test, we deployed, and we maintained. The mostly we were on the on-prem hardware. So if those who have been with Creative for a long time, you know we had a very sophisticated data center in our other premises. Provisions deployed and provisioned by Microsoft, right? So now we don't see a huge value of those with the current transformation. So everyone is moving to cloud. Probably not today, but in the future, definitely that will be the first option. So now our focus is has changed. So now we are talking about the uptime, isolated automations, and reliability compliance, and different set of things. The value of those have become high. So in order to achieve this, we have to struggle a lot if we have to maintain our own data centers, meet compliance and everything. It's hectic. So the simple solution will be to move to cloud. So on-premise is past. Now most of the things have moved to cloud. Either it is fully on the cloud or on hybrid mode. Even Creative, we also have many things on cloud. Right, a few facts. Just have a look if you can trust this. Right, it says 90% of companies are on the cloud. So at least we have Teams or Google or any other communication medium or email, mostly on the cloud. We don't have on-prem Exchange, on-prem email servers anymore. Except, I mean, if a customer have a strict requirement of having it. The cost for maintaining on-prem assets are going high. So global cloud computing market is expected to reach, I mean, huge number, huge billions by 2023. So opportunities are there. Right. Next, how things are moving to cloud, how we are bringing things onto the cloud. There are few strategies. Right. Let's try to understand this so that it will be very easy to map these things with our career paths and roles. In very high level, so just imagine you have a solution which is running on set of VMs, and we have a backend database, maybe MySQL, maybe SQL Server. So what are the options? How you can migrate those to the cloud? So first thing is just lift and shift. So you can create few VMs on the cloud, and you can deploy the backend database on one VM, right? The application on other VMs. So you can have it on the cloud. Yep, you have migrated to cloud. End of the day, things are on the VMs. So that is called lift and shift. You are not going to touch the code level or no any modifications, no optimizations, right? So you are happy with whatever you have. You are just migrating to cloud. So next is lift and modernize. What is this? On the cloud, we have the infrastructure level and the platform level, right? Different layers. So I will come to those details just to understand. So in order to come to the next level, the containers or the PaaS layers, we cannot just move our applications as is. So we have to do some touching. We have to modernize it. The next, in order to get the full benefit of the cloud, the recommendation is to go to PaaS. Right. In order to do that, we have to have cloud native applications. Okay. We are going into more details. Next. So what is SaaS, software as a service? So this is just a word. You know what are the applications with this, right? Microsoft Office, Dynamics 365, the things you are using, right? Just through the browser. Those are available, really available to use. Just provision and use it. They are available to use for us. So next thing is the platform as service. It's the complete development environment in the cloud. So you can deliver anything. You can deliver cloud-based applications with minimum effort. Right? Azure SQL DB, Azure Kubernetes services. So the next thing is infrastructure as a service. So that's what we discussed: the storage, VM, servers, networking, those. Okay. Then the lift and shift, what as I discussed, just migrate into cloud. Okay, lift and modernize is we have to modernize that to get some extent of the cloud benefit. So this is something as a developer we have to engage. So we have to change from the code level in order to fit into the cloud containers or PaaS. So mainly the legacy applications have to modernize to do that. It says modernization. So the reason behind this is it brings more value, its ROI is high when compared to IaaS, a long term. Initially, we have to invest more for the modernizing, but in long term, there's a benefit. The cloud native is application innovation, which is we are focusing on the cloud components and services and everything, and we are developing to a best fit for the cloud environment. So we can get the full advantage of the cloud. So and another main difference is the IaaS and other two. When we modernize, so have the cloud native application, we don't need to worry about managing those, the infra, and we don't want to pay for license, then we can pay only for what we use. The mainly from the business perspective, that's a huge advantage. Okay, then. So you can map these things in next few slides, just keep them in mind. So what we discussed. Okay, it says find out what you like doing best and get someone to pay you for doing it. Not always, but if you can do that, that's great. These are few designations. Just rush through it to see if they are familiar to you. I'm pretty sure you have heard of the DevOps, business analyst, QA engineer, technical account managers, project managers. So how about cloud engineer, data engineer, cloud architects? Right? Are they all familiar or new to you? So just take few out of this. Let's talk about cloud architect. So so we know there are software architects, system architects. We need to have a certain level of skill set. But the difference here is we can see regardless of being a software architect or a system architect, now we have to have a common set of skills, the cloud skills, to survive, because our application is going to be on the cloud mostly. So others also, having the same thing, same challenge. Even for a developer, you have to have thorough knowledge in cloud. The quality assurance QA engineer, yeah, definitely we have to have. DBAs. So in the future, I'm not sure we will be able to see that role. Mainly that will be transformed to data reliability engineer, a DRE. It's more than the DBA. The role will split to the data engineer and data reliability engineer mostly. And DevOps is a highly demanding occupation. The system administrators, engineers, mostly we will see like SREs. The BS will have new opportunities like BA architects. The project managers and account managers. The account manager role will be mostly technical account management role. So there will be many changes. Right. So here, let's try to map those what we discussed. Right. For a lift and shift, what are the skills and resources we required? Right. In order to do that, we need the involvement of a cloud architect, cloud engineers. If we have a database to migrate, so definitely we need a data engineer. And once you have it on the cloud, in order to make it, manage the releases and everything, so definitely we need DevOps engineer as well, right? Like there are few things to do when go to the cloud. So you can understand what are the roles of those. So next, if we are doing a lift and modernization, definitely in that case, we need a cloud developers. Right? The PMBA role will be there. So we have to modernize. We have to change the, we have to introduce code level changes. You have to modernize the application. For cloud native applications, definitely there's a higher degree of involvement in developers. So from the cloud architect, the developers and other resources as well, the skill sets as well. So you can get some level of understanding where the roles will fit into. Okay. So there's a huge, there will be huge demand for the entire cloud skill, and within that, the Azure and AWS plays a huge role. I mean, they have a huge market share. Within that, it says the Azure-related jobs expected to hit 38.4% over the next decade. Right. So there are many opportunities. Right. So this is average. 1,000 new customers sign up to Azure daily, the huge number. So in order to cater these requirements, we need more engineers with those skills. So there will be many opportunities. So especially when it comes to Fortune 500 companies, yeah, the majority of the share is for Azure. There are reasons for that: security, compliance, and those things. And Azure cloud consumption also increasing very fast. That's also one reason to have high demand for Azure engineers. And I'm not sure you can clearly see this. These are the certification path. The difference here is now they are mainly focused on roles, job roles. So we can see like more meaningful certification paths. Some have prerequisites, some do not. This is still evolving. So when it comes to the certifications, you can see the beta exams also there. So which are still not fully released. So here what we can see is all the released exams. In very high level, you can see the DevOps path from top to bottom, and the security engineering, Azure architect, data engineering, AI engineers, data science, IoT, SAP. Those are specialized things. So let's look a bit more into those. Okay, cloud engineer. So the exam map into this career path is cloud administrator. So what are the responsibilities and roles of a cloud engineer? So when we have an architect from the cloud architect, the implementation, managing, monitoring of the infrastructure mainly are the role and responsibilities of cloud engineer. Cloud engineer will do the implementation of the architectures provided by cloud architects. So they need to have that skill set. The exam targeting that is AZ 104. If I can remember correctly, this is still in beta, still not at release. So the previous exam is AZ 103. So if you are, planning to do this, it's advised to wait until the exam is fully released, because sometimes we have seen they are not releasing results until they meet some threshold. So that's something important. If you are planning to do any exam, just check if it is already released or in a beta version. Right. Next thing, as a developer, software engineer. So these are the things we have to, gain as the knowledge. The responsibilities will be, again, it's development. This exam also not focused on just .NET stack. In the cloud, you can be from any technology stack. It could be Java, it could be PHP, it could be Python. That doesn't matter. If the SDK is available, you can still develop and deploy things on Azure. So regardless of your technology preference, you can gain the knowledge in the cloud, mainly the administrator doing the provisioning and implementation of it, as a developer, what is expected is to consume the endpoint services and the expose point in Azure to develop the application highly coupled, and you can consume the available services. How you can do in that knowledge should be there. So in order to do that, you should have a better knowledge in available resources, components, and the strength of the Azure cloud and how you can consume it. That's the main target. Okay. Like developing our knowledge, having a brush up our knowledge on OS operating systems, the same way we have to have now the cloud knowledge as well, because that will be the platform in the future. So in order to develop cloud native applications and doing the cloud migrations, modernizations, you have to gain this knowledge. The target exam is ACID 204. That is also still in beta. 203 is the released exam. Right. So the next role, cloud architect. So cloud architect will be doing the architectural part of any cloud application. It may be for the infrastructure project, maybe for the development project, or maybe a DevOps project, whatever it is. The cloud architect should come from very sound technical background and have to have these all at least two or three, all three, or at least two experience in at least two of these streams, either from administration or development. Having all these will be a plus always, but it's very rare to have such people. So the main responsibility is to define the architecture. So exactly, cloud architect have to reason why we have to use the services, components, cloud components. What is the best architecture to do that? So why we are choosing one over the another? So have to have very good knowledge on doing that and hands-on experience as well. So to become an Azure architect, you have to complete two exams. One is ACID 303 and 304. The previous one was 301, 300 and 301. So this covers the designing aspect and the implementation aspect as well to extent of architect. So little bit tough exam, not easy, but we have few who have already done the exam in creative. So next, the data engineer. So I hope you have seen, you have some understanding about the data engineer, data science engineer, data analyst. What are the differences in these roles? So data analyst is mainly doing the analysis from the data, mainly doing the reporting and presentation part. The data engineer is covering like broader role than that. He's responsible for implementing data infrastructures, management of data, and bringing the data and cleansing them to a level where data scientists can use it. It's a bit broader role. So when it comes to Azure, there's a cloud big data platform. So they are mainly responsible for designing, implementing, monitoring of those platforms. So the skill set is a bit broad, and they have to complete two exams, DB 200 and 201, to become a data engineer. So I'm pretty sure you have heard so many terms here. So data bricks, data lake, okay, stream analytics, right? So many open source technologies also there on the cloud to cater the data platform. So next, DevOps engineer. So I'm pretty sure you have heard of this. You know what DevOps is. Right, it's not those days we had engineers for managing releases, and we have system engineers for deploying and taking care of the systems. So now most of the things will taken care by the DevOps engineers with continuous delivery and CI/CDs. So Azure is there's a Azure DevOps pathway. There's a skill set, and they can, they actually very knowledgeable in Azure stack as well as the open source stack when it comes to DevOps. Target exam is AZ 400. This is also a little bit tough exam, but it gives a very good knowledge for someone to become a DevOps engineer. Right. Next is security engineer. So the main responsibilities will be to maintain the security and take the required measures. So the target exam is at 500. Those who need to specialize in this particular area. So this is somewhat specialized area. It also is called a bit tough. We don't have anyone in creative at the moment with this skill set. Right. Next, the AI engineer. So AI pathway. So these things are common. So the target exam is 100. I'm not going to much time here. Next is data science. There is exam called DP 100. So their main responsibility is to do the data science modeling and implementations on Azure with Azure ML Studio, Azure ML services. So this exams covers all the aspects, and when you are preparing for this, you have to go through those. And the main thing about the Azure exams is now those days they were just just a set of MCQs, and we could have do some dumps and go just pass the exam. But now it's not the case. We have some lab setups, so we have to have hands-on to get through the exams. So it's becoming a bit tough. So they are measuring your skill set, in a more practical way than just a few MCQs. So if you are getting ready, you have to have at least done few labs. You cannot just do some dumps and go and earn the certificate. So these are few references and some resources, something really useful. So especially when it comes to resources, you can see Microsoft cloudworkshop.com. So there you will find many labs to get some hands-on, and Microsoft Learn is another great site. So you can find all the resources there to learn. It categorized into the career paths and some skills and your level and everything. Just have a look. That's a great resource. Even though you are not a Microsoft, you are not pursuing your career with Azure, still you can find a lot more interesting things, important things, sometimes about some concepts like blockchain, data science. Those are there. So you can have a look. Yeah. Okay. That's the end. So just let me know if you have anything to clarify, anything not clear.
Yeah, thank you, Duminda. I think that is very informative. If anybody has any questions, you can ask now.
So one more thing is the reason why we, in the last few slides as well, we discuss more about the Azure and the career paths. So the fortunately or unfortunately, we have that skill set here. But to add into that, there's a huge demand, the same level of demand for AWS as well. So cloud skills, not limited to Azure. So it will be adding definitely more value to you. Maybe it is Azure or AWS. Definitely that will be adding value to you. So not need to limit to this, but unfortunately I have more information about the Azure, so I had to share that. I'm not a very good person to speak about AWS. If you have anything, just you can just speak up, or you can just send through IM.
Okay, it seems we don't have questions at the moment. Anyway, Duminda is available via Teams. You can talk to him if there's anything. Shall we pound it up then, Duminda?
Yeah, yeah, Kanchana. So no questions means either you understood it completely, or you did not understand it, right? I'm not sure which one.
I'm sure they understood it. Anyway, the recording will be available in Microsoft Stream. So if you want to take a look again, listen to Duminda again, and then you might have questions, then you can direct them to Duminda. Okay, so for the moment then we'll finish the tech talk for today. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you very much Duminda for a very informative session on career development with Azure and Microsoft technologies.
Thanks, Aishna. Thanks for the opportunity.
Right.